Hey guys, so for the last couple of weeks I've been working on making new cabinet doors for the kitchen. We decided to make shaker style doors. So just as an example, this is one of the finished doors that I've done, and as we've been making them, I've stacked them up here on the counter since the counter is pretty level and square, so that way as I stack them up I'll put weights on top to make sure they stay level across the surface. So in this video I'm just going to show an example of how I would glue up one of the doors, and I'll kind of explain the different architecture of the pieces before I glue them up, just so it makes sense when I start to put them together. So you can see I have some paper towels down on top of the previous doors that I glued, and that's just to make sure that the fresh glue from this door that I'm doing doesn't get on the other doors. So for this I just used 1x3 pine, which actually works out to be 3/4 by 2.5 inches. I just kept those dimensions as the dimensions of the frame. So really there's two pieces that are involved to make the frame part of the door. So first you have the side pieces, which are called the stiles, and those have a groove that run down the full length, and you can choose which width of the groove that you want. In this case I use a 3/8 inch groove on either of them. Then the other piece you have is your rail, which is makes up the bottom and the top, and that also has a groove that runs the full length at the same width, but it also has this tongue on the end that will slide into the groove on the stile. And then lastly you'll have the board that goes inside. For this I use a 1/4 inch plywood, and that will slide in. That doesn't get glued in, it just gets slid in whenever the pieces are glued together. And for this I'll be using Titebond 3, which is just the highest strength glue that Titebond makes for this sort of application. So what I'll start with is I'll start by turning up one of the stiles here and getting some glue on both of the rails. I have this nice silicone brush that helps me to spread the glue without making too much of a mess. Just keep that nice and spread there. And I'll put some grooves here. Let's get that first one in. Get it nice and square at the end. So you can see, you want to make sure you get it nice and flush with the end there. Wipe off any excess. And of course, if there's still some after the fact when the glue dries, you can always come back and sand it down. Bring this up here. Get some glue on this rail. Just want to get as many contact points for the glue as possible. Set that off to the side here and get that one in. Okay. So then what I'm going to do is slide in the board piece. I'm not sure if I mentioned or not at the beginning of the video, but these are called shaker style cabinet doors, and we like that style over the ones that we currently have, which I don't know the name of the style that we currently have. So that's what we have currently. Just the board slid in there. And again, the board doesn't really get glued in. It just sits in there. It's about a 1/16 of an inch difference all the way around that way, so it's not really tight in the groove. It's just tight enough to stay in. want to make sure we get enough glue on all the way around, because the wood does absorb the glue pretty well, especially since this is the end grain of the wood. So it's got the glue on there. Just gonna put a little bit in the ends. Okay. And we'll take it and slide it on. Again, just wanting to make sure that they're all flush at the ends here. Just using my finger to wipe off the excess. Okay, so it's flush on these ends. It's flush there. Set my brush out of the way. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this on its side right here, make sure we're on the paper towel. So then I'll just take my clamps here. So good. Get it kind of tight on there. Come around and do this one. Nice and tight. I'll just double check, make sure ends are flush. This is a little bit off, so I'm gonna tap it just here. Okay. Make sure that one doesn't go. Double check that the ends are loaded up, good to go. And then take the weights. These on the end here. Alright, so now with the weights on there, I'll just let it dry for a day or so. And once it's gone by, I can take the clamps off and then do another door. So it's kind of a slow process, but if I had more clamps, I could do more doors at a time. So yeah, that's pretty much the basic way that you glue it together. I'm gonna make some short videos to show some before and after of the kitchen once we can get these installed.